So this is really new. So I decided to go ahead and do this little series. Well, this live stream. I was cleaning my pens anyway, and I went onto YouTube and saw this new feature up there that said that you can do this live stream thing, and I was curious. Shot. So hopefully, this was expected. I have a bunch of crap on my desk. Out of that. You should not be hearing me out of that. So I'm hoping this all works out. Yeah, because how we had to do live streams before was we had to download OBS software or something like that, basically an encoder. And, well, you had to go from there, essentially, use that. And it was pretty much of a hassle. So I just got this new, yeah, sure. So I was cleaning my pens. I just finished up getting this guy done. This one, this is the my Mont Blanc 149. That's all done. Let's see. So that's looking all nice. So I'm actually going to, in terms for lighting, let me switch this camera. Get this guy back over here. I think that was probably a better place for it. You can probably see in much better detail that way. There we go. So that. Perfect, but well, that's all the light I got, and we don't have very much natural light outside. So so there's that. But yeah, so the Mont Blanc 149 right here, we've got I cleaned it out. It was full of ink, and it was in there for a while. So so went ahead and flushed it, threw it into the ultrasonic for just a few, just for half a minute or so, and that pretty much got all that stuff out of there. By the way, fun thing. So for Mont Blanc, to check if you voided the warranty on your pen, what they'll do is they will actually, right on this section on the nib unit right here, they'll actually put some kind of goo on there, some sort of like red goo or whatnot. And if that's been tampered with, when you open this pen up, the red goo will most likely be gone. It's like the silicone rubber mess thing. Then they'll know that you voided your warranty, supposedly. Let's see. Got my drawer of goodies down here. And I'm just polishing this guy up with a polishing cloth. This is actually meant for musical instruments, but works very well for pens, and it just removes the fingerprints and really just removes any light grease. It's not an abrasive. Well, I mean it is, but it's really not. So this polishing cloth is really excellent for just doing the final touching up and whatnot, and removing any fingerprints, any crap that's on there. Really shines up very well, and I really love this thing. It's yeah, just looking at that. And this is the Mont Blanc from the, I want to say it's from 85 to 90, if I remember correctly. My year's good. There we go. Get the light there. And, a couple things is, if I remember correctly, they started making it out of the nib out of 18 karat gold at some point. This is a 14 karat gold. And they also started making the threads out of brass instead of the precious resin. So there's that guy for you. And it's a really good writer. It's this nib on here is a medium. I don't know. I would relate it to a medium, standard medium, maybe just a hair bigger, broader. Mont Blanc doesn't actually do nib sizes, if I'm not mistaken. They have like a one size fits all. I don't know, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. For me, this nib is a little too broad, so I don't. So what I usually use this pen for is for because I'm Mont Blanc, I take it with me whenever I need to sign something or whenever I need to. Well, I do a little bit of writing with it. It's a little big, but you know it's okay. It's a nice size. Yeah, I'm hoping. I actually applied for a boutique job at Mont Blanc last week, and I've been calling them and really pushing them for the green light, hopefully. And they said that the manager said that there was his managers were going to be there today. So I sent email. I've been trying to follow up as much as I can. I need to bug them, I think, a little bit more. So so there's that. But I really enjoy this pen quite a bit. And what I'm actually going to do is I got this dental pick. I don't know if this is the right one. No. That always gets into the thread spot. I mean, I'm being very careful, just doing it very lightly. Just you don't want to scratch this stuff. I mean, yeah, you want to be very careful. And I get all these tools for free, by the way. I go to the dentist, I ask for them, and they just give me broken ones, so which are fine. Mechanics also ask for them, so yeah, you don't need to spend a fortune. I spent a fortune with hobby tools. Trying to get pen stuff. I mean, of course, there's certain pen stuff that you definitely should have. That's meant exactly for pens. For example, this pen thread sealant, which is excellent. It's meant exactly for pens. Really, more for vintage pens, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's what it's meant for. These guys aren't in business anymore. They fountainpensacks.com actually went bust. Or they just stopped. I mean, so can't get that fountainpensacks.com anymore, unfortunately. But right now I'm just seeing if there's any residue. Just picking out anything in there. But I mean, I'm just being very careful not to disturb anything. And that should do it for that. I think that's going to be good enough. If I handle it more, of course, I'm going to just put more fingerprints on there. But there's that. No, well, actually, while I'm at it, this is the stand it came with. Pretty dusty. We can fix that real quick. I don't have a paper towel with me, so I'll just use this. And what's interesting is this stand is actually also made out of the same precious resin that the pen is made out of. So there's that. And this was, again, it came with the pen, so this was made in the 80s, late 80s. So I found this at a rummage sale for 50, 80 bucks, something like that. The whole thing. At least I didn't. My sister did. So very good, very good. Yeah, I would not spend several $100s on a Mont Blanc personally, but you know, or at least not at this point in my life. So one thing I could do just to complete this also, there inside here, well, you're going to see this. There is a screw in there. There's a flathead screw in there. And what I'm going to do is unscrew it and take this off. If I can, there we go. So I can clean this guy up a little bit better. There's a screw, and then there's a little washer right here. I'm just going to put that guy off to the side. And this is actually, I'm just looking at these two next to each other. They could almost be the cap, the same cap. I don't know how well you can see that. Put that up. I'm guessing, you know, I'm curious. This is not a big hassle for me, so I'm curious. Is this the same thing as the cap? Or is it just a little bit different? Because there's also a flathead screw in here as well. Be careful. Got a better here. So let's go ahead and you want to be careful with these. You really want to I don't want it to just, there it goes. I don't want it to snap at me to throw it against the wall of the cap. But just to show you, you can take these apart. So that's what it is, taken apart. Well, I can actually clear it this way. That's right. I put a washer right here. So I put a little gasket right here. A while ago when I serviced this pen, must have been years ago, and it's still holding up pretty well. Because the original one that came with this, well, wasn't here. So, but what I'm curious about is make this straight. So this is the cap, the original cap, and this is that goes on the stand. And to me, they look pretty much exactly the same, don't they? Oh, wait, nope, they're a little bit different. Oh my, I don't know how well you're going to see that or not. The font on here is just a skosh different. Again, I don't think you can see this, but you're just going to have to take my word on it. It's just a little bit different. Words Mont Blanc. I mean, to clarify, Number 149. I'm just double checking here. This is interesting. Yeah, the font's just a little bit. Let me get out my loop. Good look at this. Because especially when it comes to Mont Blanc pens, it's the fakes out there are just enormous. So this actually has a light on there, and not a surefire way of doing it. Oh, actually, this one's not bright enough. Let me show you something. I'm just going to get out the flashlight. Okay, so on the real cap, these are both real. Again, this is going to be hard to show you. You should be able to see through it, which you can. And it glows a very dim red. Let's see if I turn off the light. Actually, this is better lighting without the light on, is it? Huh? There you go. You can see right through it. That's pretty clear, isn't it? Let's see what this guy is. Okay, and it's even for this one right here. You can see through it. Interesting. Actually, the lighting on the camera is a lot better than with the light on here. So maybe I'll just continue as this. I think this looks a little bit better now. So that is really interesting. That's fascinating. But now I'm just mucking about now. So I'm just saying you can. So if your cap breaks, if all else fails, you could probably, yeah, you can just get the bottom. Say, oh, that is really weird. Yeah, they're just slightly different, ever so slightly different. So you can get the bottom section of the stand and then just replace that if it breaks. That's weird. Very interesting. You learn something new every day, and they feel the same. Yeah, the insides are the same. Still have those ridges in there. I mean, it's very, very interesting. Anyway, enough of talking about how interesting everything is. I'm just gonna go ahead and get the underside of the clip right here because obviously this is a hard spot to get. And this is before they started making serial numbers. On here, it just says Germany right here. Yeah, it says Germany, no West Germany. So this is, that's the later Mont Blancs, and yeah, very interesting. But at least in terms of that, it's nice because these pens are on the surface very easy to take apart and put together. So, and we're just going to drop the screw back in and see if we can get the face threads up. There we go. There's luckily no alignment for this, so that's good. And we're just going to very carefully screw it back in until it's firm but not tight, right? Yeah. So I'm just going to leave it right there. You don't want to over tighten it because you don't want to split the nice resin right here. So, very good. And you can see that this was somehow injection molded. You can see a little tiny bit of flashing right at the very top right here. So I'm wondering if this is like injection molding or something. I don't know because I don't see any mold seams on the pen. So they clearly either filed it down or there's another way that they're making these units. So I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure, but you know, it is what it is. Go ahead and drop that guy in there. And it is a bit of a rainy day outside. It's been raining here in California, well, Northern California, for about last week or so, which I am not complaining about. I know people always bitch about the weather here, and I don't understand why, because I have no complaints, honestly. I mean, we need the rain. We need it. So you know, what is it? The first day of spring too, as well. So I don't know about you, but I think that's looking a lot sharper than it was before with all that dust and crap on there. And so this plate right here is not, I'm pretty much assuming that you can have this engraved with your name, your company, whatever you want on there. But this one's not. And it's interesting for fountain pens and engraving. There's a bit of a, I don't want to say dilemma, but like a bit of a situation, a scenario where if you're buying, for example, I don't know if I have any, a pen. Take a look at my collection over here. If I have any examples, which I don't believe I have. If you have a pen which has engraving, like personalizations, like initials or something like that, does that detract or add to the value? And many might say it detracts from the value. Some actually simply just don't care. For me, I'm a little, kind of in between, because if you have an engraving on a pen, yeah, I mean, it doesn't. I don't know. It's bizarre. It's weird, because it belongs to someone else, and especially if it doesn't have your name on it, it just it's not as clean a look, right? I'm gonna try to see. Yeah, see, that just makes everything look dark. Try that. Yeah, because I can see a little bit more, and you can see a little bit better. Oh, this is a Mont Blanc. Oh gosh, this is a Meisterstück pencil. I don't know if there's like a name to this. It's burgundy. It's a mechanical pencil. It's a 0.7, and I am 99% sure that's real. Not 100% sure. There's a couple flags that come up to me. The serial number is very faint on here, but the construction, nothing seemed like really fishy for me, so I'm not entirely sure. But sorry, let me get this out of the way. There. Anyway, but everything seems tight and very, very consistent. I can disassemble this by unscrewing it. As such, unscrewing this little part, and you get this this rotating mechanism. So there's a spring in there, and attached to that you have this unit inside of here, this metal unit which holds the lead. And this reassures me that it's real, because I think it's in German. Most of the stuff would be in Chinese, or whatnot. And the way you put lead in here is there's this little pin that you take out, and you just drop lead in there. That's pretty much how you fill it. I'm not quite sure what this pin is actually for. It's not a piece of lead. It seems to be attached to the inside of this unit. So if anyone wants to let me know what this is for, I have no idea. Maybe it's to agitate the lead if you're trying to fill it. I have no idea. And it's interesting because this doesn't actually screw in. So on Mont Blanc roller balls, and yeah, roller balls, these cartridges would actually screw in. So there'd be threads on the cartridge, and there'd be threads inside. So like somewhere around there. And to fill it, you'd actually you'd screw it in there. So, but in this case, it's a pencil, and it's a little bit different. So, but it's a very good pencil. I got this for what, $35 at a flea market some years ago. I think these going for like $250 now. So, it's pretty cool. Someone came on by and tried to buy it for like $50, and I said, no, I'll grab it for $35. Thank you very much. And no, there you go. But no picks underneath here, so this is under the clip. So for Mont Blancs, a lot of times for the newer pens and writing instruments, you'd have the word picks written and actually stamped underneath the clip right there. As you can see, maybe you can, maybe you can't. There's no picks. Same thing with my 149. There's no picks underneath there. So this is an older model. Again, this one's from the mid to late 80s. This one is probably around the same time as well, I'm guessing. Because I started putting picks on there rather, I think in the 90s, late 90s, I believe. But yeah, you can just completely disassemble this whole thing by unscrewing the white mountain little top right there. And you have this unit. This is the spring-loaded unit, which retracts the lead out of the pencil. I have no idea how this thing works. Other than that, well, it does its job the way it's supposed to do. And the cap, the clip rather, needs to go on a certain way. So there's a little, let's see if I can find it. So there's a little ledge, there's a little lip right there. Yeah, right there at the very top. It's like the shape of a C. So that little open spot, if you can see it, you see it right there? So that needs to line up with the clip. So it needs to, and you'll feel it when you're just rotating it. It'll kind of just fall into place. Hopefully. Let's see if it cooperates. Yeah. Should just, there it goes. Should just fall into place right there. You slide it on top, and you get the little, the most important part of a Mont Blanc writing instrument. Of course, you have to have the white star, and you screw it on. And I try to screw it on very snug, rather firm, but not, of course, not hard. You don't want to break anything. So, and that's pretty much that guy. And I just get a polishing cloth and I just, wipe it down. And that's pretty much all there is to it from there. I'd say it's looking pretty snazzy. These pens are actually excellent. I actually don't use this as much as I thought I would, this pencil. I should probably put in some harder lead. I have a really soft lead in there, so I don't really like to, it's a little bit of it's a little too soft for me, so to speak. And I actually keep it in this thing right here. This pen, this writing holder, this pen holder, whatever you call it. This was actually a gift from my ex-girlfriend. This is when she visited Iran. This is there's a word for this kind of pattern, but basically what this is there's all these little specks. These are actually gold specks, and all these little pieces of wood are actually laid in there by hand. So these are actually cut little tiny pieces of, I think, brass. I want to say brass and some other dyed wood, and I'm bottom of particle board. But if I remember correctly, they actually do this by hand, and they then lacquer it over with a clear finish to hold everything in place. And the lacquer holds everything very well. This is pretty tough stuff, and it looks it's quite striking. It's very stunning, actually. So I do have a pen box somewhere. Actually, there it is. It's over there. I could show you that later. This is where I put my Mont Blanc right here. I actually just It fits in there so well, so that's how I usually treat that. Most of the other ones don't fit, so oh, maybe this one could fit. This, yeah, that one could fit, but I'm not going to put in my Mont Blanc because this I only have 2 Mont Blancs. I have a 149 with its own stand, and I have this guy. So I'm just going to put this off to the side. So they're a nice little set. All right. Now I have cleaned this guy. This is my 54, my Waterman 54. And no, I've been kind of keeping it uninked for a while. Yeah. It seems to be very good. I love this thing. Oh my God, this thing is so good. These 2 Watermans, I love these things. This is my 52 and this is my 54. God, these things are lovely. Lovely, lovely things. It feels, my 52, I just love the way it feels. The chasing is just really crisp, and the cap and oh man, this thing, love it. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous rider. And the flexing on this, I love this thing so much. Yeah. Absolutely just wonderful. Yeah, I have the pens I use most. I have them. You don't see them; they're off camera. They're just right over here in a thing. So I have the rest of my collection over on the other side of my right over here on its own display. But yeah, I love this thing. This one has a number 4 size nib, which I thought would give a little bit more flex, but it gives pretty much the same amount of flex. It's a little bit firmer, so it's better at writing, for just general writing. But yeah, it's wonderful. It feels a little bit beefier. It's just a smidge thicker than the 52. At some point, and it's not a big issue. Where's the pointer? You notice how, let's see if I can show you. You notice how the lever's sticking up just a skosh? So it's hovering. Let me show you what it's actually supposed to look like. Here you go. Here's my 52.5 V lever. It's supposed to more or less lie flush into the barrel, as you see there. I'm not sure why this one's doing it. If I push it down, it just doesn't click. I don't know. I have no idea. This is uninked, right? Yeah, it says no ink in it. So looking at it a little bit more, I'm trying to see if there's anything too bizarre about this. I wonder if this was serviced before. Yeah, because the lever box is raised up a little bit. Actually, so there's little flaps on here. You're not going to be able to see it very well. Well, maybe you can. There you go. You see, so this is a lever box, is what we call it. It's a lever box, because the box that holds the lever, right? And it's held in there. It's a whole unit by itself, and it's held in there by these 2 little tongues that protrude out to prevent, obviously, from it falling through. But you can also take this out as well. Also, there's a bunch of crap in here. So I'm wondering, if I'm very careful, I can probably need a knife for this. There's another box of tools for me. Let's see. You know what? That might be better if I can get that. Yeah. Yeah. I've got a bunch of stuff. Here, while I'm at it. Here's all my stuff. You got ink sacs, tube, nibs, vacuumatic tool, some feeds, some vacuumatic stuff, converters, cartridges, and some syringes. Eyedroppers and stuff. So there's that. But let me see. I don't know if this will work. This flathead screwdriver, this modeling flathead screwdriver. I just want to lift this guy up just a skosh. Yeah, that's not going to do it. Because the last thing I want to do is actually break this thing, while repairing. I don't want to be in worse condition than it started, but this is a very sharp knife that should, hopefully, if I'm careful. If I can just get underneath it. I also don't want to scratch the body, or carve into it, so I'm being very careful. Or this could be something for another day. And avoid cutting myself, of course. On the live stream, we don't want to have that happen. That's not the way you want to have your YouTube channel go. It's by having your first live event and then, you cutting yourself. So what I'm going to try to do then. Probably not the best idea, but I'm going to just, oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So what it looks like is not necessarily wrong, but what's the deal is, oh, you know what? But that's not right. Yeah, that should lie flush. There has to be, I'm guessing there's something. Yeah, there's probably something in there that's preventing it from, gotta make sure there's no ink in here. Okay, there isn't. I'm just comparing these two lever boxes with one another, which look pretty identical. Trying to figure out why this one's not going down all the way flush. So the depth looks fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. Yeah, and that clicks. This one does not click. So if you just heard, so this one, so that just did a click, but this one does not click. I wonder if there's something in. So there's 2 points where I'm thinking might. Let me show the camera. Move the camera around. Maybe you can see this better. Let's see. So for this guy, the camera will focus. I hope. Nope. You're just focused. You're just fine. Yep. Get those out of the way. So there's a little spot in there. So there's two spots I'm thinking. So there's the pivot point of the lever, which is right here, right? So the lever pushes up. You push up the lever. Man, I wish this would focus better. There we go. I can just do it like this. Actually, this is probably a better way of doing it here. Let me readjust the camera. There we go. Yeah, ignore the tripod leg. All right. So this lever has two parts to it. It's either getting stuck right in this section, or it's getting stuck on the other end right here. Right here. And I'm trying to figure out which one it is. But because if I push on it, it doesn't snap. So I don't know. This might be another nice opportunity to show you that on the back of Waterman's, if it will focus. Please focus. Nope. Well, let me read to you what it says. It says, I have to go outside the camera. It says, gold filled, 18 karat. Yeah. It says that on the very back right here. Yeah. That's what it says right there. Just for funsies. That's what it says right on the back there, and the nib and everything. Looking pretty good, pretty sharp. No, as in sharp as in the nib, not the focus right now, which seems to be focusing over here. So there's that guy. All right. I'm curious, this won't, yeah, that won't fit. So there you have it. That's the Waterman 54. This guy's doing pretty good. I mean, this was a beat up pen when I got it. This thing was, it's missing its ring, so it's supposed to have a ring on top right here. It is a wood grain pattern, so you can, might be a nice example. You can check out the wood grains right here. You've got, this is what we call the ripple right here, a ripple variation of the ripple pattern. And this is what we call wood grain. You see it, the grains are a lot more elongated right here. Where you see these are a lot more tight and a lot more fluid. So this is more reminiscent of, well, wood grain, I guess. So that's why they call this the wood grain variant. This one's pretty fun to use whenever I have a good nib in here. This one's a pretty shitty nib. That's right here. This Waterman. This thing's a nail. I don't know if I can show you, but I mean, this thing does not open up at all. I'm going to reposition the camera because this thing just does not focus. So I'm going to reposition it back. Right there. Yep, right there. Okay. And get back to where we were at. Let's see if I can. Yeah. Sorry, let me figure out the lighting real quick. There we go. That should be good. Okay, so, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of this guy. It's yeah, it's a pretty good pen. I enjoy it. Really like him. The pens I really want to work on now that I'm into it. This guy has ink in it, but he's been sitting out for a while. So what I would do normally, oh, he's still right though. He still writes. Let's see. Yeah, he still writes fine. So I'm just gonna leave him as he is. But normally when you're using fountain pens, especially vintage ones, you want to clean them out thoroughly. So I haven't written with this thing in probably 3 weeks. But you know, you probably, so it's, for me, it's time to clean these things. But I'm actually pretty fortunate. I'm just looking at how it's writing right now, and it's doing a pretty good job. So no need to waste ink. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop it back on. It is feeling. One thing I'm noticing is it's feeling a little crusty when I'm capping it. So I'm wondering if I need to take a look inside the cap. Yeah, this looks fine. That's why I have a whole mountain of Q-tips right here. And we're just, seeing if we can get any of the residual ink out, because a lot of times that's what can get that gumminess, that gummy feeling. And oops, there we are. I use Semichrome polish, which is excellent. I love this stuff. Not the best stuff to always use, but it's what I've got, and well, it's good for polishing up pens, metals, pretty much anything. I'm just getting a Q-tip, and I'm just yeah, there I see it's I'm not. Well, this should hopefully help a little bit. Let's see how much that helped. So I probably want to go one more time through here just to clean out most of it. And you're not going to get all of it, but getting most of it's going to be good enough. Yeah. Yeah, that made a big difference. Yeah. And when I cap my pens, this is up for debate, but I see a lot of people, especially when I hand people my pens to people, I'm second guessing myself on that. First of all, I always say unscrew, 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 unscrew. Please do not pull. Always unscrew a pen before unscrew. If you don't know if it's let me try over. If you don't know if it's a pull off cap or a unscrew cap, always unscrew, because you can never go wrong with unscrewing. But when you put it back, some people like to put it on just very gently and loose, and others just cram this thing just shut, just really crank it. But for me, I just kind of, when I find the resistance, I just give it just a firm, just a little bit more of a turn, and then that should be it. Doesn't need any more than that. Just that much. That's it. Yeah. Then it's not too tight, and it's not going to fall off. So let's check my 51. This thing I use almost every day. This 51, I love it. Pretty good on there. If anything, I probably just polish it up a little bit. I got this for like $7 at like an antique shop. It was in the wrong. Well, there's 2 cups of pens that they had. They had one that had, let's say it was $7, and they had one that had prices for everything. So I'm pretty sure this one was just in the $7 jar, which for this one I was kind of baffled because they had other Parker 51s in the other jar. The ones with individually marked tags and prices and whatnot. And it was just funny. It's just odd how this one was in the $7 bin, or jar rather, but all the other crappier Parkers were in the other one. I don't know. This was just, I'm pretty sure this was in the wrong jar, but they gave it to me for $7 anyway. So yeah, I don't mind. Plus, I lost one of my other 51s. So one of my very first pens I ever got was a Vacuumac and a Parker 51 Signet in gold. And I lost it. And it's the only pen I've ever lost, but man, was that a big loss. I mean, I wish I lost, like some Schaefer or something like that, right? Just some inexpensive pen. That was a $300 pen I just lost. So, but I only paid $20 for it, so I wasn't the biggest issue in the world. It wasn't like losing, for example, this thing, which retails, which on the market it goes for about $1,500–$1,600. This is a Waterman 14 in overlay gold from about 1906-ish, thereabouts. So, yeah. But yeah, this thing is very sleek, very clean. I like the cap. The piston, the Vacuumatic filler system works perfectly after I restored it, so I have no complaints on that. So, unlike this one right here, this Vacuumatic, that's it's either this one or something else. I think it's this guy. Pretty sure it was this one. This pen has been a bitch. I hate this thing. I mean, I really want this thing to work, but it just has not worked for me. Yeah, I mean, this thing is celluloid, and I've had I've had 3 or 4 Vacuumatics, at least 3 or 4, and one of them caught fire because I was an idiot. Learned that celluloid is very flammable, and it pretty much caught up on fire, but it went out pretty quick, so it burned like the very end right here because I was trying to heat up the back, but then it just went poof, and yeah. Didn't do that again. Use a heat gun, not a lighter. Yeah, very bad idea. But I have not been able, or have I? No. Yeah, I've not been able to remove this this filling system. There's just, I've tried everything under the sun. I've soaked it for days and days and days. I've put heat to it. And I have the tools for it, so I don't know why it's not coming off. I mean, I know how to do it, but it's just, and also this thing does not post because of the very slight deformation of the barrel, so it doesn't post anymore. So, God, this thing. I want a Vacuumac that actually works, because these things, when they do work well, they do a very good fucking job at it. I mean, these things are great pens. But I don't have a Vacuumatic that's currently in working order. So there's that. And even the nib, I'm regretting buying this pen, actually. I bought this pen was it a year ago? What year is it? Yeah. At least a year ago when I was in Colorado, a year and a half ago. Yeah. And I don't know how much I paid. I think I paid like $60 or $70 on it, and I'm a little upset about this because I thought this would have been an easy fix. I mean, I've restored two or three other Vacuumacs without too much of a hassle, but this thing was no fun. Not fun at all. The nib is a little bit scratchy. It's two-tone, which is pretty cool, but the very tip of it has a very, very slight protrusion to the left. Now I'm talking like just like a quarter, like just 1% of a millimeter, just that way, just ever so slight hint of it shifting left. So, and I'm guessing this was because someone may have screwed the pen in too hard, and the nib may have rubbed against the inside of the cap. which caused it, or some other reason. I have no idea. But I can. The only way to make this thing work is to eyedropper fill it, but even that leaves a mess down here. So I'm a little disappointed about this one. I wish this thing would work, but it doesn't. So need to hunt for another Vacuumatic, because I really like these things. The next couple ones we have. These are glass pens, actually. These are glass fountain pens. This one I've had for 3 years and have never given two thoughts about restoring. But a couple weeks ago, I decided, it's time for it to finally see the light of day. And yeah, this thing is excellent. This thing, I remember spending months trying to get this section out. The section from here out. There's no way of avoiding it because this thing was just fused. The barrel was fused onto the grip section. And I tried all the conventional methods that you're supposed to do. And it pretty much got to the point where I almost broke it because it just would not come out. We tried soaking it for days and days and days. Heat, tons and tons of heat. Just nothing was softening this thing up. I don't remember why I did, but it finally came off. There's a little bit of damage here, but these pens are not that expensive and collectible, so it's fine. It writes extremely wet though. This thing is just licks the page. It's just wow. And it writes actually surprisingly smooth. And let's see, does it do that? Yeah, that's a wonderful trait about these glass nibs. It's just being able to lay them flat and just pour out the ink. So if you're an artist, this is, you would love this thing. Yeah, like the crescent filler on both of these things is a bit cheap. These were not made very well. They were made in Japan at the time, before Japanese standards, after World War II and blah, 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 blah. So there's that. But it's a pretty good pen, though. It's a very nice guy, and posting it, which you can do. Let's see. Very sketchy posting. God, I don't want to do anything more than that, because I always like to post my pens on this. Feels like a pen, so I can just do this all day. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Yeah, there's this guy, which is he's a little bit different. Most of these pens actually did come with clips. They're slide-on clips, so you could take them on or off, and these don't have the clips, unfortunately, which is, it's okay. I don't remember what ink I put in here. Did I put ink? Yes, there's ink in here. This pen only works in a certain direction, which is annoying. There we go. There we go. This guy, if I turn him like this, quote, normally, he doesn't work, but if I keep turning him, then he finally works right there, because that's where the ink is flowing out in one of the chutes, the little grooves right there. I do really want to get this thing, figure out why it's doing that, because it looks like the ink is flowing evenly on all the sides, so I'm not quite sure why it's only flowing down a few sides. And I also wish I knew how to take off the nib so I could clean everything underneath it. So, because I feel like that would help a lot. Boy, the shading in this ink is fantastic. This is, this is Waterman Serenity Blue, Florida Blue. I don't remember. I don't remember. It's a very nice light blue, and the shading is it's dark, but then just wow, lovely, lovely color right here. Yeah, and the same thing you can do with this is yeah, isn't that a gorgeous color? Beautiful. For this guy, we'll just do a little bit of polishing just to clean them up a little bit. Yeah, these crescent fillers are very cheap to manufacture back in the late 20s, very late 20s, early 30s. So that's why I threw them on there. I mean, all pens at this point in time were lever fillers practically. There was almost no eyedroppers at all, unless you had some of the very cheap pens. But no one was buying those eyedropper. Let me see if I have one. Yeah. So, like, this is an eyedropper filled pen. Is he filled up? I don't remember. This is a Waterman 12. It's a Waterman number 12. And the way you'd fill the pen is you'd unscrew, hopefully. Yep, you unscrew the grip section and the barrel as such. Then you just get an eyedropper, get some ink, and then just basically put it into the top right there and fill up the pen. That's all you do. Very simple. Very simple. The thing about these caps, though, during the time that I'm on the topic, this is a slip cap, sometimes a cone cap, and it's basically friction fit, essentially. So you would push it until it slides shut, essentially. It's simple. The benefits are obvious. It's simple. You don't have to drill in threads. That would cost more to manufacture. You don't have threads anywhere here, which would make it super awkward to hold. Theoretically. The downsides, though, outweighed, I think, the goods, and this is why most fountain pens are unscrew or screw caps. This is a wedge. Essentially, the pen barrel acts as a wedge. And, well, what do wedges do? They split things, right? They split things into two. So what often happens with cone caps, as I've got a great example right here, is that they split. You can see a crack in the cap right here on this Waterman, what is this, 12.5 V? Or no, I'm sorry, it's just a 12.5. So there's a gnarly split in this cap right here. And one other thing, and I just put this on there very gently. I'll need to repair this at some point. But other than that, this thing's great, by the way. This is another eyedropper, which is got a super just excitable nib right here. It's wonderful. But the thing with these guys, the slip cap, and you'll notice this on the cap, there's no cap band. So such as this one, there's a cap band, this gold cap band. Now, you might think that this is for aesthetics. How it just divides up the pen into two parts. Yeah, that's true, but it also, its main function is to add strength to the weakest part of the cap. Is when you're putting the cap on here, where's all that energy is being put right here on the edge of the cap, and it's causing a lot of stress. And over time, or at some point, it could potentially split if you put this on too hard. So for this, when I put my slip caps on, I usually find the point of resistance and then just give it just a bit of a turn, just a little hint of a turn. And that usually keeps it on, and I know that it's not going to split. But I mean, these things are not something you would want to take around with you because it's just a disaster waiting to happen. They do have these really wonderful little decorative bands right here, though. Wish I could show you that in more detail, but my webcam's not very sympathetic. But yeah, absolutely lovely. The nib that's on here is the nib that actually came with this guy right here. And the nib that's on this pen, it's on this pen, is the nib that goes on this pen. So, but this pen's original nib, which is this one, is total garbage. So whenever I want to do actual writing with this pen, I usually swap these nibs around constantly, which, is what it is. But I'm not using this pen currently, which now I'm thinking about it, I might, because I don't do nearly as much writing with this number 12 as I thought I would. So I might throw this nib back on here at some point, but not right now. I'm going to put this guy back. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this one's good. I recently got this guy. It's a pink Esterbrook. Yeah. This is the same ink, so this is the same Serenity Blue ink. I got this for Christmas, and it's a fun little pen, fountain pen. These are very easy and very cheap to find. Made in the 40s and 50s. I mean, can't you tell? I mean, this is, got the stainless steel and the plastic. It does a very good job of writing. And the nib unit inside here for Esterbrook's, for quite many of them, there's actually a nib unit inside here. So you'd have the grip section, and you have this ring with threads on the outside. And if it wasn't inked, I could unscrew the nib and feed, and it would come out as a unit. So thought that'd be interesting. It is lever filler, so nothing too extraordinary. It's got a stainless steel nib. Again, nothing to write home about, pun intended. But for general scribbling, yeah, does a pretty good job. Does an okay job. It's not a very big pen, so but something to toss around. I mean, again, these aren't very expensive, and but decent pen. The pen I use a lot, though, is this guy. I love this thing. I haven't used it a lot recently, and I think I need to clean it. And also, I think I need to readjust the nib as well. The nib seems to be a little high. I think it needs to go down like a millimeter or two. But this pen is a Sheaffer flat top Jade. This is from, I think, the mid-1920s. And this nib is just a beast. This is a 14 karat gold nib, and it's thick. It's a big nib. It protrudes down about a good, I want to say good like 3 millimeters in here. And if you take out the nib and you feel it, it's substantial. It's a nib, because most of these nibs that you throw around, they don't feel like too much, but this thing, you feel like you're holding something. It's a lifetime, and yep, it's got the white dot on there. So instead of putting it on there, this is before they did that, and they put the white dot on the top of the flat top part. Yeah. Let's see, turn that off. But this is a good pen. It's made out of, now I believe this is not celluloid, but this is a marbled plastic. And this also has the cap bands, which right here, which isn't too important when you have threads on here. It's a screw cap, but again, it's still aesthetically nice to divide up the pen into two parts, as well as adding structural rigidity to the weakest point in the cap, which is right there. But this is, I think, the first time I tried to use injection molding plastic. And let's see if there's any ink in here. I don't think so, but yeah, there's no ink. I'm going to clean the underside of the lever because you see it's a little bit dirty. So I'm just going to wipe it just a little bit. It doesn't seem to be doing much, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a little bit of semi-chrome polish. And see if we can, yeah, it's still working a little bit. It's doing a lot better. Yeah. Yeah, this stuff is really good. And I love this semi-chrome polish. It really does. It's a very safe, it's a very neutral polishing compound. And I found success of it on, let's see, what have I used on? I've used it on black hard rubber. I've used it on celluloid. Plastic works fine on plastic. I even see on the edges there's a little bit of crap on there, so get that off there. Obviously, it works fantastic on metal. Polishes up metal very nicely. Yeah, I wonder if that's tarnish or that's corrosion. It doesn't look like corrosion, but it's just gunk. I do have a scraper. I'm wondering if this stuff scrapes off. Let's put this away. Let me find a better scraper. That might work. You gotta be careful not to. Here, I'll show you. Try to be careful not to scratch it. That's the thing. But I'm pretty sure that's. I'm pretty sure that's tarnish. Just my scraper tool. It's hard to see. It's a little spoon, I think. Not exactly what it's intended for, but yeah, that seems to be coming off. I'll actually grab it. There it is. This will work. Oops. Back over the microphone. Dental scraper. So it's got a bit of a flat edge, a little bit rounder. There we go. I think that's working a little bit better. Yeah, that's just all. Yeah, I can see it coming off. Yeah, that's just on there. So I'm not actually I'm not hurting the pen by doing that. That's just really encrusted on there. So I'm gonna, yeah, it's just, I don't think that's corrosion either or anything like that. I think that's got to be gold or something, rolled gold, I'm assuming, or something. There you go. Now you can see it. Yeah. Yeah, it seems to have done a lot better. Yeah, that stuff is just on there. Hmm. The live stream in just a few minutes here. This has been good. Now, one thing I've been really dancing around with is, I have two channels right now, Treble Woofer and Treble Woofer Pens. One is dedicated to my musical stuff, and the other one is for my pens. And I'm thinking that was probably not a good idea because then I'm having to start over from scratch for both of these channels. So I'm thinking about just condensing it back down to one. So, God, I hate doing that. I think that's probably the best idea because I have 124. I want to just grow one channel, right? So I don't work on one channel. I think I'm just carrying on too much for myself, and I'm just so busy. This is like this one free time I had. I've been applying for graduate school. I'm applying for a new job. I'm taking less composition lessons and whatnot. So I'm just working so much and trying to do these videos. Yeah, a lot of work, but I like doing them. I really like doing them, and editing them takes a long time. But so I'm doing a live stream about something I'm doing already. So hey, why not? I need to get ready. I need to be going out in a half an hour, so I'll need to get going. So I think there's like 3 people that I saw pop up, maybe more, but I don't know. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll try to keep up to date with more stuff as it comes along. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see everybody later. Take care.